Warm greetings. Now we are going to see the elasticity of demand. So the law of demand states that if price of a commodity increases, the quantity demanded will fails or will falls, and if price of commodity falls, the quantity will increase. This is the natural case in which the law of demand indicates only the direction of change in quantity demanded in response to the change in price, whereas the elasticity of demand states that with how much or to what extent the quantity demanded will change in response to the change in any determinant, which indicates to every action there will be an equal and opposite reaction. Likewise, the change indicates or the law of elasticity of demand indicates to what extent in which the change will reflect into the side. So the elasticity concept, if price rises by 10%, what happens to the demand? This is what the general scenario. We know the demand will fall naturally, but to what extent it will fall, we don't know the concept. So by more than 10% or by less than 10%, so the elasticity helps to measure the extent to which the change will occur. So the meaning and definition of elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand measures the extent to which the quantity demanded of a particular commodity increases or decreases in response to the increase or decrease in any of its quantitative determinants. So we have several types of elasticity of demand according to the source of change in the demand. For example, if the price is the source of the change, we have price elasticity of demand. The elasticity or the responsiveness of demand in a market is great or small according as the amount demanded increases much or little for a given fall in price and diminishes much or little for a given rise in price, stated by Dr. Marshall. For example, if the supply of the product is high, it normally reduces the price of the commodity or the price of the product. If the supply is surplus, we have to work so. So the elasticity of demand will be classified based on the source of change and the degree of change in the demand. According to the source of the change, the following types of elasticity of demand can be mentioned. The price elasticity of demand, cross elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and advertisement elasticity of demand. Whereas according to the degree of change in the demand, the elasticity can be classified as perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic, and then unitary elasticity, relatively inelastic, and perfect inelastic. So first one will be the price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand is a measurement of percentage change in demand due to percentage change in its own price of the commodity. The price elasticity of demand may be defined as the ratio of the relative change in demand and the price variable. Whereas the E will denote the elasticity. This is proportional to the percentage or proportional change in quantity demand to the percentage or proportional change in price. So the change in quantity demand will decide or the price will decide the price. If we buy a little amount of quantity means the price will be normal, whereas if you are buying the commodity in a huge quantity, we may negotiate the price. So this is the formula for calculating the price elasticity, that is percentage of change in quantity demand to the change in prices. Here the symbolic term EP indicates the price elasticity, Q indicates the quantity, P indicates price, and delta Q indicates the change in quantity demanded, delta P indicates the change in price. Based on the degree of price elasticity of demand, we have 5 categories. First one perfectly elastic, second one perfectly inelastic, third one unitary elastic, fourth one relatively elastic, fifth one relatively inelastic. So perfectly elastic demand. So when a small change in price of a product causes a major change in its demand means it will be perfectly elastic demand. A perfectly elastic demand refers to a situation when demand is infinite at the prevailing price. The degree of elasticity of demand helps in defining the shape and slope of a demand curve. Therefore, the elasticity of demand can be determined by the slope of the demand curve. Flatter the slope of the demand curve, higher the elasticity of demand.